Hi there, we are continuing the build-up to the Carabao Cup final this Sunday. The news is coming thick and fast out of Newcastle United, of course, as it usually does. We've got Ryan Fraser, reports from Jordan Cronin on the injury situation. Luke Edwards has been talking about the chairman back in Newcastle United ahead of the summer. Craig Hope has also mentioned what will happen if we win the Cup and we don't win the Cup. And Eddie Howe has been talking about Bruno. So let's dive in. This is the Daily News. Hi everybody, I'm Paul, back again with the Daily News, and as I said there in the intro, there is always news at Newcastle United. It doesn't matter whether we're in a cup final or not, there is always news to be discussed, and nothing is different today. We'll dive straight in with Ryan Fraser, who has, reported by Craig Hope, been frozen out of the first team affairs at Newcastle United. He's training with the under-21s now, and the 28-year-old is expected to leave Newcastle United 100% in the summer. Now, look, we can talk about Ryan Fraser until the cows come home. It just hasn't worked at Newcastle United for me. It just has not worked. Whether that's his attitude or not, I don't know. But it seems that Eddie Howe's run out of patience now as well, because he spoke a few weeks ago saying that Ryan's got to work hard and get himself back into the first team contention, and explained that he was a wonderful player and a wonderful talent. And as Eddie Howe would normally, talk about his players, he won't publicly address any problems that are going on behind the scenes. But it's clear now that Ryan Fraser has had an issue, and I don't think it's a surprise to anybody. For me, he hasn't done it at all at the football club. Not at all. He has been poor, he's been injured most of the time, and I don't think his attitude's been right. Quite frankly, I think that Newcastle United were only the only club to come in for him when, of course, he went on strike at Bournemouth. So he didn't come with a great reputation attitude-wise, and that seems to be the case now moving forward. He hasn't done it on the pitch for me. I think the guy's got talent. I really do. We've seen it for Scotland. We've seen it for Scotland many, many times, but he just has not done it for Newcastle United. And there lies the big difference. He would be injured for us, then he'd go and play fantastically well for Scotland, and then he'd come back to us injured, or he'd come back to us and wouldn't perform. Now, whether that's just he's not good enough for the Premier League, or whether it's just an attitude problem, we will never find out. But let's be honest, Eddie Howe, he does have a ruthless side. We know he does. And quite honestly, he's obviously done this because he's fed up. You don't banish a player to the under-21s unless something is seriously wrong with attitude or things like that in general. So Ryan Fraser is no longer part of the first team, and he'll probably be kicking himself because he could have been on the bench for the cup final. The way our squad is at the minute, yes, we're getting players back, but he's one of the senior players. He's 28-year-old. He could have had an opportunity to be on the bench for the Carabao Cup final. Now, that is still a wonderful moment for a footballer. You're still part of the team. You're still taking part. But he's blown his opportunity as far as I'm concerned. And, he's only got himself to blame. I just don't think it's worked since the minute he walked in the door at Newcastle United. Steve Bruce didn't do anything with him. And Eddie's tried. He's played him a few games. He's given him an opportunity, but he just hasn't taken it. And I'm not sure what's going through Ryan Fraser's head. I really don't. So it looks like he's 100% leaving in the summer. Now, Jordan Cronin has reported on Newcastle World that Joe Linton should be fit for the Carabao Cup final, of course. He did tweak his thigh against Liverpool, but Eddie Howe, brought him off straight away. He wasn't going to risk anything, and he is expected to play in the final. And I don't think there was going to be any doubt about that. But we just as Newcastle fans wanted confirmation, really, that he was going to be there. And certainly with the return in Bruno, our midfield is so much more stronger with those two in it. And I can't wait to see Bruno back as well. So he should be fit. Now, as opposed to Joe Willock, he has been described as 50-50 and touch and go for the final. Now, we've had various reports throughout the time that he's been injured, of course. When he was injured at Bournemouth, people said he was definitely out. He was going to be out till March. Some people said he was going to play in the final. Some people even said he might be fit for the past Liverpool game. That hasn't happened. it's a shame on Joe Willock because I don't think his form was great before he got injured. But, he had the ability to get the ball and run at defenders and cause them problems, whether it was just a couple of times in the game, but it was enough to set up an opportunity. And I think Eddie Howe would have had a decision to make had, of course, Joe Willock being fit. Where does he fit in? If Bruno, Longstaff and Joe Linton are there, he's got a problem. Does he leave Maxi out and play Joe Linton left? All of these problems that Eddie Howe would have had to have seem to be dying down now because it certainly looks like Joe Willock isn't going to make the game, which is a huge shame for him and us, really, because I think he could have had a good run at the Man United defence, but he is set to miss the final. Now, Luke Edwards, whatever opinion you have of Luke Edwards, he has reported that Newcastle United chairman has been back on Tyneside. Yasser Al-Rumayyan has been back discussing possible transfer fees for the summer. He's been delighted, absolutely ecstatic with the season so far. Of course he would. We're ahead of schedule. We know we're ahead of schedule. Sometimes that team has gone out and performed way above what we expected, certainly for this season. But the fact that he's been on Tyneside, he's probably seen the players and got together with Amanda, etc. And, serious discussions have taken place. Whether he's discussed a transfer budget, who knows? We're never going to find that out. But what he did say was, obviously Fun88, who have agreed to end their shirt sponsorship at the end of the season. I don't think that was a great secret among any Newcastle United fans or the club themselves. They wanted a new shirt sponsor in, and Fun88 have agreed to end their agreement early. But I thought it was ending this season, but apparently it wasn't. Apparently they had another year left, but they've agreed to terminate at the end of this season. Now that obviously leaves us wondering who is going to be the shirt sponsor for next season. I think we all have a pretty good idea of who the front runners are. Saudi, probably. It's probably going to be them, but I'm just speculating. I have no idea, to be honest, but it will bring in more money. There's no doubt about that, and that will help with FFP, of course. So that's what they'll probably be looking for, a fantastic sponsorship deal. So that's exciting in a way because, not many people have been happy with the, Fun88, betting sponsors and things like that, and I think the Premier League are trying to eradicate that anyway from shirts in the future. So who it will be, I think we've got a good idea, but that's not confirmed yet. We'll just have to wait and see. Craig Hope has also reported that the club won't have a parade if we lose the final. And I think this is very sensible because Alan Shearer's been talking about this in a recent interview, and he said that it was quite embarrassing in 1999 for the players because they lost the final and they didn't feel like they really deserved one because there was no trophy on there and things like that. And you can understand that. You have to celebrate. You have to celebrate a win and a parade. If you get in a parade for finishing second, then I don't think that, the buzz isn't there. The buzz isn't there simply, no matter how we play, we could play brilliantly and still lose the game, but there'd be no point having a parade because everyone would be flat as a fart. The players themselves certainly wouldn't want one. And you can understand that. Whether it was to sort of thank the fans or not, they could do that on the pitch, to be honest. And but if we win, there is going to be a parade, and it's scheduled for Tuesday of next week. However, there's no parade route being agreed or anything yet, so we are still yet to find out what route they will take. And finally, Eddie Howe has been talking about Bruno ahead of the cup final, and Bruno, we know, hates missing football matches, especially since he's come to Newcastle United. He hates it. And Eddie has confirmed, basically, that he has been very, very frustrated at missing the last 3 games. Given how the results have gone and the form hasn't been exactly brilliant, he's been a little annoyed that he hasn't been able to play. But now, Eddie said he's back. He's in a very, very good place mentally, which is fantastic news for us as Newcastle United fans because we just want him to go out and be absolutely world class on that pitch. And listen, this could be Bruno's moment. Centre stage, Wembley Stadium, this can be Bruno's moment. It can be all the team's moment. But Bruno, being the player he is, we know he's a big match player, and we've missed him badly. It settles the defence down, it settles the players around him down, and I just think all good things come from Bruno. So having him back is fantastic, and Eddie confirming that he's in a really good place mentally is even better news. So I can't wait. I mean, the build-up is happening. It's weird because we're not used to Newcastle United being in a cup final, but the build-up is tremendous, and I think me and thousands of other Newcastle United fans can't wait to get down there at the weekend. But there you go, guys. That is the daily news today. Let me know what you think. Is Eddie right to freeze Ryan Fraser out? What have you thought since he's been at Newcastle? Are you worried about Joe Willock not being able to play the final if he's touch and go at the minute? Of course, let me know about the chairman and what you think he's been discussing while he's been on Tyneside. And of course, are you looking forward to Bruno coming back? I mean, that's a stupid question, but I have a feeling that 100% of us are going to say, yes, I can't wait till he's back. But leave a comment below, guys. I do read them all. It's great to get your input into all the news stories that are going around at the minute. So thank you very much for that. Please don't forget to hit that like button before you end the show. It really does help us, guys. The like button is very, very important to this channel, and it does help us build. And of course, if you're new and you like what you see, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and come and be part of a wonderful family community on the Toon Review. And hit that notification bell as well, which will let you know when we upload, we go live, or we schedule in any show. But that's it for now, guys. If you're watching this on Wednesday, tonight at 8 p.m, we have a very special guest on the show. We've got Rob from the Rubenstein YouTube channel. Of course, over 30,000 subscribers. Rob is well known around the Newcastle fans, and we're delighted he's going to come on the show and talk all things Carabao Cup final, transfer windows, and how he sees the season so far and where we could finish. So don't forget, 8 o'clock tonight. That is going to be a great show. And keep your eye open, guys, for another premiere. We have another very special guest coming on to discuss the cup final. So that's going to be tomorrow. So keep an eye on the channel for that as well. But in the meantime, guys, enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Take care.